On today's episode, we are interviewing one of the most inspirational and dynamic women you guys will ever see. Padma Shri Deepa Malik, the first Indian woman to win a medal at the Paralympics. Keep watching.
Wow, what an honor. Hi everyone, I'm Namita, and on today's episode, we are welcoming Padma Shri Deepa Malik to our She Roars segment. As many of you may know, She Roars is a segment where we interview inspiring women. And these are the women who have roared ahead in their lives and inspired us with their confidence, strength, and perseverance. And no one does this more, nor can anyone truly inspire us more than our guest today, Deepa Malik. Deepa Malik is one of India's most inspiring athletes and a true trailblazer in the world of Paralympic sports. Despite facing numerous challenges and obstacles throughout her life, Deepa has never allowed anything to hold her back from achieving her dreams. As Paralympic athlete, Deepa has represented India with great distinction in multiple events including shot put, javelin, and discus throw. Her remarkable achievements include winning a silver medal in shot put in the 2016 Paralympic Games in Rio, as well as numerous gold medals at national and international competitions. She became the first ever physically challenged person in the world to get a rally license to compete in Raid the Himalayas car rally on the world's highest motorable roads. But Deepa's story is not just about her sporting success. It's about her unbreakable spirit and determination to overcome any obstacle in her path. She has battled through spinal cord injuries, surgeries, and other health challenges to become not just an elite athlete, but also a motivational speaker, entrepreneur, and a social activist. Through her work with various organizations and initiatives, Deepa has become a powerful advocate for disability rights, women's empowerment, and inclusion. Her story is an inspiration to millions around the world and a testament to the power of perseverance, positivity, and resilience. Please welcome Deepa Malik, a true champion on and off field. Welcome, Deepa. Thank you so much for coming on Talk to Us today.
Thank you. Thank you. Indeed, an honor.
No, welcome, Deepa. We've been trying to get a hold of you for so long. As you know, dates were clashing, something happened. It was so difficult. We're so excited and honored that you've joined us on our show. And I've just read more about you because Namita has been talking, and then obviously I'd heard your name. But hearing about you, it's just beyond my imagination how one person can achieve so much. And now you have another one of these hats that you're adoring, which is that you're a motivational speaker, and you were in fact given the International Human Rights Council's Exceptional Speaker Award. And I've only spoken to you for 2 minutes, and I believe that you truly.
Yeah, see what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I find
you.
it so fascinating because you have so much strength and resilience. Where do you find your inspirations? How do you stay so upbeat, active, and motivated to achieve so much? So it's a vague, but tell us a little bit about yourself, how your journey started.
My journey has been pretty much rising above adversities like a phoenix. I mean, every time you burn out, you rise from the ashes. It has been like that because I think that must be for everybody's journey, not just mine, because every day is a new challenge. Life
That's you being very modest. That's you being very modest.
No, I'm sure, because see, each one's journey is different and each one's challenges and adversities are different. What I'm going through may be like 100 for someone. What other must be going through maybe like a 10 for me, because I may feel that my adversities have been bigger, larger, and more challenging. But it doesn't happen like that. Everybody goes through it because this is life. And for me, I think I was chosen to probably break a certain stereotype, because time and again, disability was introduced in my life by virtue of repetitive tumors in my spinal cord. The first time I was bedridden was as a child, a 5-year-old. That surgery, rehabilitation, diagnosis took about 4 years. Then having absolutely amazing teen years, no sign of illness, very active, outdoor tomboyish girl that I was, always doing offbeat stuff. I think a bit of a rebel happened in me because lying in the bed as a 5-year-old, I always heard that I'll be now restricted. The body is going to be, not like any other child's body. I will be more like a burden or a liability. And on top of that, being a girl child. So somewhere, I think now that I'm a grown-up woman, 50 plus, I understand the psychology bit now. So if I look at myself from a 53-year-old looking at a 5-year-old of Deepa, I probably realized that maybe those thoughts which were embedded around me, like, a girl child and disability. So I wanted to probably prove all that wrong. So I started liking extraordinary things to prove a point.
Wow.
Maybe subconsciously that must be working, because if I had to ride a bicycle, I had to stand up on the seat and ride it. If I had to, if I was told ride a Luna, I would go borrow bikes and ride them. If my parents said play on the playground, I would climb trees. So something extraordinary I had to do. And today, when I look back, maybe that was the thought process that was
But
going
this
behind
thought
it.
process doesn't come to everybody. I mean, there are many people who,
Yeah.
even as a kid, they just give it up and say, "Oh, I'm a burden," and spend your time wallowing in
But I
pity.
give a lot of credit to my parents. They never let
Yes,
any negativity set into my
Yeah.
mindset.
that's
They always, and I see a lot of role of my teachers as well, because I know I used to get bullied in school as a child when I went to school on a wheelchair. But there was a wonderful principal, Mr. P.K. John, out there, and they were wonderful teachers. He shifted the classroom to the ground floor. He created a ramp for me. I was given a music
wow.
stand from the music room to put my textbook on. And maybe my parents worked hand in hand with the teachers, and they were very conscious of the environment in which I was growing up. Uh, at home, I
Amazing.
always felt loved and important. So there has always been this a conscious effort, whether it was my diet. It was never that there is a male child in the house, so the boy will get preference even when there is food or nutrition. You know how it is. So that way I was lucky, and then I was brought up in a courageous atmosphere of army. But
Yeah,
time and
that's
again, I tell people that motivation is everywhere. You have to allow yourself to get inspired. I think the only thing I did differently was I was open to absorbing positivity, the positive thought process, solution finding thought process. Probably I inherited it from my parents during my illness time, because during the hospital stay, there was a lot of time management that was juggled. There was a lot of solution finding mode was on, because Papa had to juggle his office timing, sport timing, training timing. Everything had to be redesigned and worked around how it will fit with my treatment, my doctor visits. So I've understood that whenever you plan and you find solutions to any challenge, the answer or the outcome is always positive. So there was never stress. They learned to deal with stress. And for 3, 4 years in my most impressionable years as a child, I watched it very closely. You know, children remotely look at things
Yeah,
because they're not directly
right.
involved. But due to the illness and a long term illness,
yeah,
and being the focal point of that whole planning, I got involved firsthand.
yeah.
So
Wow.
organically learned a lot of things.
So, were there any moments maybe where you did feel like low, and then somewhere, it happens. These are like ups and downs, and and then which maybe think, and which has always encouraged, I would not let this down. There's something, some inspiration, some boost, some internal thing that happens. It happens with me, like when I'm down and low. I mean, I cry and cry. It's like, enough. It's enough. I'm not going to let this win over
Yeah.
me.
So when
That
the
kind of
turning point, yeah.
Yeah, as a
yeah.
child, I learned that life is precious because I saw it slip away. I have heard doctors discuss in front of my parents in whatever language they were trying to discuss, but I could understand. I could
Kids are
understand
smarter than
their
we give them
facial
credit
expression.
for. Yeah.
Yes, so I knew that there were moments of helplessness, even from the doctor's side, that we just don't know what is going wrong with your daughter. We're going to try this treatment, we're going to try that treatment, because 3D imaging and MRIs and all had not come out at that time. CT scans were not available to actually pinpoint things right inside the neurosystem. So it was all hit and trial and error method which was going on as far as the treatment is concerned. And I understood that I may die. So for a child who's 6 years old, who knows that, oh, I may not live, and then you live. So you understand the value of life. You understand that each day is important. And then it just didn't stop there. I had my elder daughter, she was born to me, and then she had a severe head injury as a road accident as a 14-month-year-old. 14 months old, just 1.5 year old. And the same condition, because of the impact on her brain and the accident and the bleeding around the brain, the left side of her body got paralyzed. And then I struggled with her life and death situation. It was like a deja vu.
Was that more scary than what you went through as a mother?
I probably internally was prepared for something like this because I'd been through it. But that journey was not scary. That aspect of looking after my child, getting to her treatment and rehabilitation and working through her illness, which again lasted for 3 years. And of course, impact is still there. Her left side is weaker than her right side, and she qualifies as somebody who has partial disability. But at that point of time, I think I was overtaken by the attitude of gratitude. Gratitude for yet again being able to see my child alive, because even she could have died, and gratitude for my parents, the way they had looked after me. Because when you become a parent and you see the pain of a child, when you see your child suffering, I could absolutely relate that what must have gone through the heads and hearts of my parents. So, and I always teach, whenever I speak, I say the best attitude is gratitude, because that makes you, however bad the situation, it makes you appreciate that one little silver lining in the crowd. And whenever you are able to appreciate something, that means you're looking at the good side of things.
Absolutely.
And when you're looking at the good side of things, you become a positive person by nature. So that was the journey through Devika's illness. And of course, only to get my tumors back at the age of 30 after my second daughter was also born. So for me, it has been a continuous, I always say that we are neurosurgeons' delights.
But I must commend Deepa that she's doing amazing. She's a sports person as well, and she has represented in.
Yes, and we are the only mother-daughter duo who played together at international Grand Prix and won medals.
Wow.
Together on the same podium. And she is
we know
working,
who our next guest is.
Yes, and she's working in disability sector herself, and she's Forbes 30 under 30. She has been a Queen's Leader awardee at the Buckingham Palace. She has been an opening speaker for the Commonwealth Heads Government meeting in England, where 53 prime ministers were sitting, including the government head, that was the Queen herself. And so she's internationally working for inclusive policy. She's now 32.
Oh, wow. You had like little babies when you were a kid. You were really.
Yes. So I had my children at the age of like 21 and 24, 25. Yeah.
Wow. And
I
you're lucky.
sometimes I
I
feel
have
that's the
a
best age,
13-year-old.
so that you can live the teenage life with your kids, you know.
And that
No,
was
but
very
I
helpful.
I have to say something. So whenever my mom and dad say, you could have done so much more, and I'm like, yeah, but you guys, मतलब आपने जो सिखाया वही आता था, तो वो naturally your daughter has to shine like this, क्योंकि जो आपने सिखाया
But you'll be
Yeah.
surprised. I have learned from my
उससे
younger generation. Literally, I am a mother who's been brought up by her daughters
wonderful.
because they bathe me, they change my diapers, they have taken me to the
Wow.
playgrounds, they have accompanied to me to my gym training sessions and my competitions internationally. They have been my caregivers. So they have been extension of my body. The mind was mine and the arms and legs were theirs because we were
Wow.
three of us living on our own, and my husband was still continuing in the army, and I could not join him at his postings post my paralysis because it also happened at the time when it was the Kargil war.
Oh wow.
So he wasn't around. In fact, the male members of the family were not around because we are out and out army family. My brother, father, father-in-law, husband, everybody's in the army.
Well,
So
salute for your entire family. You all represented it. You all, including you, your daughter, your family members. You're
yes,
all like representatives of the Indian flag. Like kudos to all of you, man. You are
Yeah.
all
thank you. Right from
That,
World War II to
the nation
now,
should thank you and
any
all
battle that
families.
India had to fight, one of our family members has been there.
wow. That's amazing.
Unbelievable.
You are the inspiration for your daughters, and how your daughters inspired you. So,
I
and
learned so much from them because, see, when I started treading on a path of becoming a para sports person at the age of 36 years, starting from as a swimmer, converting into an athlete at the age of 40 years, and then pursuing a sporting career, it was also the era where we had to create awareness. We had to speak about equal rights. We had to speak about policies and we had to speak about sciences in the sports. And there was my daughter, both the daughters from the current generation with the current knowledge of computers, information technology, the power of social media, the policies around corporate social responsibility, how to create Microsoft presentations to pitch for your, either your funding or to talk about yourself. So they have practically been teaching me how to be a millennial in today's world and what strikes a chord either with the governance or with the common people. And that's what I have learned from my daughters. And that has helped me in becoming the Deepa Malik that I am today.
Wow. So you've kind of rolled
wow.
into what I wanted to know first. So you've been a strong, strong advocate for accessibility and inclusion for people, with disabilities, with other problems. So, and especially since you are in a point of um, going and talking about processes and changes that can happen. In your opinion, what are some of the biggest challenges facing people with disabilities, not just in India? Like, of course, we know that India has a long way to go for this. And I understand this because I come from Canada, and 30 years ago when I was in university, I saw a lot of accessibilities, which for people with, wheelchairs and other disabilities, which were not available here. Like I was in engineering, and this person who couldn't hear, like, and he had hearing disability and speech, but they had a scribe with him, and he graduated with me, and those things weren't here at that time. I'm not sure how. So what are the steps that we can be taken to overcome these? Of course, that's a very broad question, but like, how do we start other than making government changes?
Just yesterday I had taken my mother to visit Akshardham temple in Delhi.
Right.
And the first thing that you see when you enter that vicinity, and the first learning that you get there is who is going to carve, who is your creator, who carves your personality. And you see a stone, and then the stone turns around and it has an image of a person who's emerging from the rock and himself carving his own image.
Oh, wow.
So they say you are yourself the creator of who you are. You have to carve. So I think the change will begin from you, yourself. If everybody takes the onus that I am going to bring this change about, it is going to happen way faster. So it should not end up being demand and supply. It should just be a responsibility of every citizen of every country on the planet to ensure that it is an inclusive planet. It's a world for everybody and nobody is left behind.
Absolutely.
And each one of us puts that thought and demands it. You may not have somebody in your family today, but you do not know what we didn't know pandemic was coming. And let's forget about disability. There will be a pregnant woman. There will be a senior citizen in a family.
Absolutely.
There will be a mother with a stroller. So accessibility is not just meant for persons with disability. You need the ramps. You need the universal accessibility for everybody, because any person in once in their lifetime comes under this category.
Absolutely.
Whether you call it by way of a temporary illness or a fracture in the bone or a mild or a severe accident as you grow up, even pregnancies, even old age, it can happen to anyone at any point of time.
Absolutely.
So that's what I say, that if everybody takes their responsibility, and by that I mean that there are policies in place, there is constitution in place, there are directives in place, there are universal policies, there are individual state policies, there are country policies. It's only about implementing them with honesty. Today, if I pick up my constitution,
absolutely,
it doesn't leave anyone behind. It doesn't talk of discrimination. It doesn't talk of not including persons with disability. It doesn't talk of, in fact, we have upgraded our Disability Act from 7 disabilities to 21 disabilities that have been now included and identified. We have a proper arm of governance called Accessible India Campaign. We have a disability affairs ministry which is dedicated to social justice and empowerment. Wow. So there is a lot in place. It's just that every architect, every builder, every house owner, whenever you are constructing something, make it with universal accessibility.
Yeah.
And then of course,
I feel
I also feel that accessibility is not just physical. There are 3 wings and 3 sides or 3 arms of accessibility that I see. First and foremost, that I spoke about when I said responsibility begins with you as an individual, is the accessibility of a mindset. If you are not having a mindset which speaks of accessibility, you will never be able to think in that direction. The second accessibility is physical, infrastructural accessibility, which is we need ramps, we need tactile tiles, we need signages, we need sidewalks for persons with disability, we need special counters for persons with disability, we need braille or audio signages, we need audio, announcements, we need sign languages experts, interpreters. All that is physical accessibility. We are also to talk about digital accessibility, because now every software has to be digitally accessible for persons with different types of disability.
Right.
The softwares have to be upgraded to certain technology that can be accessed by persons with visual impairment, or the persons with hearing impairment should get some sign language interpretation there, or the facility of having subtitles moving along with audio video. So these are also a very strong specific area where we need to work on accessibility, and at least the public users' websites have to be digitally accessible for persons with disability.
Yeah, and I also feel, yes, these are there, but as people, as a person, we have to sensitize people for the
I think
kids
bringing up
with
children is a big
this
part of
people
this.
with exactly. It starts from from the roots. Like when they're small child, we have to sensitize them. We have to make them open to a different kind of people. The inclusivity. We have to teach them when they're small. So and when they grow up, then you will yourself. We don't have to tell them to do this by themselves. They'll be conscious enough to take these steps or take these
That's
required.
something very
Yeah.
beautifully put across, Namita, because I remember my elder daughter used to do a lot of reading. I used to take them twice a month to this visually impaired NGO, which was working with persons with visual impairment. So I used to take them because physical disability, they understood. They were seeing their own mother. My daughter had undergone their own. So I used to sensitize them for that. So I used to take them for reading. And my younger daughter is a good dancer. She used to support them by teaching dance moves because you have to touch them and,
Oh,
tell
wow.
them, how to hold the finger, what is the position to be made. So at least twice a month, I used to sensitize them to these classes. And then now that we are working, we did a lot of work with hearing impaired. We had a proper fashion show for them. We had a Mr. and Miss India through our Wheeling Happiness Foundation. We even nurtured a girl who went on to become Miss World at the competition in South Africa. So,
Wow.
that exposure and involvement of children, though I know now the schools are also working aggressively towards inclusive education and sensitization. But as parents, as persons belonging to a certain social setup, it is our duty also to ensure our children get involved in such activities. At
Right.
least few
So true.
hours in a week or in a month should be dedicated to certain kind of work, and they will definitely. Today I'm very proud. People used to feel that how is she ever going to bring up children with chest below paralysis? She doesn't even have a bladder and bowel control. She can't even manage her own urine and her own bowel movements. Where will she ever be able to cook for her children? When that doubt came, I opened a garden restaurant and I ran it for 7 years. I was feeding 400 people every day. I was earning more than my husband through that. And then they said she will never be able to bring them up. They'll be very sad children. Today, I feel that my daughters have the best holistic approach to growing up because they are exposed to so much goodness, so much humanitarian work, and they are better human beings. They are more sensitized. They are very caring by nature. They have the ability
Wow.
to nurse. My father was with me for his last 9 months. He was suffering with blood cancer and his condition was deteriorating. And he used to always, a very educated, a very empowered man, and he knew he was going, but he would always turn around and say, I'm so happy that the family I'm leaving behind is a family of values.
But
So,
Wow.
yes,
that's you have always accepted all the good things and you've taken things challenge. But let me tell you something. People in general, like what they said, these negative comments that are coming because you were. I have no such. My only thing was that my son was born when I was 38, and I've been hearing these comments even up to 6 months ago. कि तू तो बूढ़े होके तूने बच्चा पैदा करा था, तुझे क्या पता है?
मैंने तो बूढ़े होके 48 years में थर्ड एशियन पैरा गेम्स का रिकॉर्ड बनाया
मैं
था.
बोल रही हूँ
एज इज जस्ट अ
people
नंबर.
people will say
Exactly.
anything. They'll say she never held a
Yes,
child.
I always,
Oh, she's been
yes.
brought up spoiled. She's never even poured a glass of water for herself. इसको क्या आएगा? I never kept a nanny. They're like बच्चा तो गया. What will she do? She thinks she knows too much. She won't be able to. So people will always. We all have to, especially I think women, because we're women, we only see it from our point of view. We have to strive through those oceans of negativity and keep the positivity going.
One thing I have learned very strongly, that a point will come when people will look at you the way you look at yourself. So
Exactly.
if you don't bother about external pressures, and initially they used to call me disabled, wheelchair bound, sad, paralyzed, no vision. Now they call me a rallyist, a biker, uh, and nobody dare use the word wheelchair bound for me because they know I'm wheelchair liberated.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So, they
Everybody.
call me a sportswoman.
Yeah.
So it's up to us, we let others colors paint our dreams, or we create our own colors to paint our own dreams.
100%.
Wow.
100%.